Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Virgo July 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing up is as far as July goes, Venus will be in Leo from the 18th until the 31st. The 12th house will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. One way this may manifest could be a clandestine relationship with a Leo Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply one that embodies Leo traits. Extravagant spending can lead to financial limitations, maybe oneself undoing at this time. This could also be about enjoying, shining behind the scenes, doing things, even in solitude and seclusion, where you feel like maybe you're strutting your stuff, so to speak, showing your positive attributes and abilities to maybe people in your private life. This could also be about valuing generosity, courage, valor, good-naturedness, even and really in those and really also, and really for those that are less fortunate than yourself at this time, or even an aunt or an uncle, and also too, in some cases, this could be about perhaps excessive pride, or valuing excessive pride might be oneself undoing at this time. In some cases, this could be about a Leo relationship that someone you're in a relationship that might be a Leo Sun or Ascendant or embodies those qualities might be a secret adversary, hidden adversary at this time. So just be careful. So anyway, next thing up. Well, Mars will be in Leo, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. You might find yourself experiencing diminished energy and vitality. When Mars is in Leo, this could be a period, and especially now that we're in the summer months, it could be a period of strong dehydration, or greater, I should say, greater propensity for dehydration. So the limited vitality and dehydration might be tied into each other, so just be careful at this time. If you're in because Mars, you're talking about Mars, a planet that's very fiery, and of course Leo being very fiery as well, so you understand what I'm saying. Also, too, at this time, if you're unattached, you may connect with a Leo Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply one that embodies Leo characteristics. It may be for a sexual liaison. It might be done very privately behind the scenes. It might be a clandestine type relationship going on. And also, too, you might find yourself putting a lot of this ferocious, like Leo energy and vitality into into Leo things in solitude and seclusion. It could be things connected with entertainment or golf or sports, anything that could be Leo related, something of a creative nature. This could be about having really ferocious, like angry outbursts, might be oneself undoing at this time. This could also be doing maybe accidents, perhaps due to showing off and strutting your stuff, so to speak, such as doing wheelies or anything that might be where you're attention seeking or showing off. It could lead to some kind of in some cases could be some hospitalization. And also to remember, the 12th house is connected with incarceration, so just be careful about volatile issues that might be associated with pride and ego, and in getting upset at somebody, losing your temper, because this could be incarceration over a volatile action. So anyway, next thing up, well, Jupiter will still be in Sagittarius, so the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, as I've talked about previously, Jupiter can be rather paradoxical, can be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. Now, in some cases, this may enlarge and expand rather foolhardy, reckless, over-optimistic, tactless behavior, perhaps from family members who you're close to home with, the less dominant parent, which is often the mother. This could also be very fortuitous for perhaps the expansion of a home. There could be some partition you may be putting on it or what have you, and also expressing very strongly a jocularity and joviality in the home. People you're close to home with, family members, could also be very auspicious for humor and goodwill at that end or latter part of life, and also too perhaps very positive for expressing Sagittarius qualities at the core, such as jocularity, joviality, exuberance, enthusiasm, optimism, and could also be very beneficial for publishing something Sagittarius related out of the home, such as something with sports, philosophy, religion, something connected with advertising or publishing. And also too, this could manifest perhaps in hope and optimism through outdoor activities with the family, and perhaps enthusiasm in Sagittarius traditions that could be connected with adventure, sports, or the outdoors. Anyway, people, next thing up, Saturn will be in Capricorn still, so the fifth house will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, you may experience some restrictions and limitations in matters with children or personal popularity with love at this time. You might also find yourself taking care of a sickly or debilitated lover or child, someone you enjoy a creative endeavor with. It could be, and it could be something Capricorn related, such as something with the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings, and maybe making you feel somewhat despondent and melancholy. It could also be about gaining structure and discipline in your love life, and also maybe taking responsibility for gambling debts if you do have any. Also, too, this could be about, in some cases, there might be some government restriction that might be prohibiting your fun, your amusement, your enjoyment, but it could also be about working laboriously in matters pertaining to the heart or with children, or even attaining personal popularity at this time too. This could also be a time where an older Capricorn person, could be a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or one that embodies Capricorn traits, might figure strongly in your fun, your enjoyment, your amusement, your personal popularity, or even your love life in some cases. So anyway, next thing up, Uranus will still be in Taurus, so the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. And at this time, you might experience some unusual, stubborn, obstinate behavior, perhaps from in-laws, from grandchildren. It could be people you know at a college or religious congregation. This could be a time too where Taurus friendships, they could be Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Taurus characteristics, might figure prominently in your philosophy, your religion, your higher education, perhaps. It could be in traveling abroad. Um, it could be a time too where you might be using the computer and internet for steady and very persistent publishing. At this time, you might find yourself taking an unanticipated, very spontaneous long distance journey. Could also be a time too where you might get involved in something Uranus like as far as higher education goes, such as something with computers, electronics, aerospace, even rocket science. Um, Anything that could be Uranus related, and could also be a time too where financial fluctuations might impact things connected with a religious congregation, maybe college studies, maybe even matters with publishing at this time. So anyway, well, next thing up, Neptune will be in Pisces still, so the seventh house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, at this time, you might experience some dissipation, dissolving of your relationships, or maybe even with matters with a grandmother or a significant other. It could be a time, too, where you might have more difficulty in terms of character composition of others and deciphering really what these people's intentions might be, whether someone's being manipulative or not, or whether they're actually real, or what have you, whether their intentions are ingenuous. And also, too, even open adversaries may be somewhat unclear and nebulous at this time. You might find yourself doing If you're into like the metaphysical, which can include astrology, you might find yourself doing public speaking on the metaphysical, of course, which can include astrology. And also too, at this time, keep in mind that Neptune energy can be rather lethargic. So it may be a time too, and that you might find yourself maybe daydreaming or fantasizing in connection with seventh house matters as opposed to taking action with them, especially if transit Neptune is making an adverse aspect to your Sun, your Mars, or your Ascendant. At this time, you might find yourself embroiled in some kind of Neptune-like competition, such as something with dancing, poetry, or photography at this time. So anyway, hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. Anyway, last but not least, Pluto will be in Capricorn, so the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. You might find yourself at this time, a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but I'm going to anyway. It could actually manifest in the literal death of a child or maybe a lover at this time. This could also be about dealing with upheavals and power struggles with children, with lovers, but you might expect certain infallibility from lovers and children at this time as well. Guard against perhaps compulsive gambling and matters of a speculative nature at this time, especially if this is making, say, an adverse aspect, say if it's squaring your second house cusp of money, or even making an adverse aspect to your natal Venus. At this time, it can increase the propensity for something of a compulsive nature connected with gambling and speculation. You might find yourself involved in Pluto-like enjoyment. It could be something connected with astrology, the occult, supernatural, maybe investigation. It could just be going around with a metal detector looking for things, digging deep. At this time, and so it might be too at this time, if you're into sports, you might thrive on really rising from the ashes, figuratively speaking, such as losing a competition, then coming back and defeating your opponent the next, showing resiliency in doing so. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Virgo July 2019 horoscope forecast part 2 of 2, and stay tuned next time where I'll be giving you my Libra July 2019 horoscope forecast part 1 of 2. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. Again, secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in your natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.